Hi, this is Chris Cook from 3M Commercial Graphics. In our last video we talked about using primer when you're doing vinyl application. Today we're going to talk about edge sealing, different product used for a different purpose. The idea behind edge sealer is that wherever you've got the edge of the vinyl, there's a very small amount of exposed adhesive there, and that's a potential point of weakness in the graphic, where chemicals or solvents or even water and dirt can start to attack that adhesive and actually cause the film to start lifting. So the idea of edge sealer is to actually literally seal that edge, to stop anything getting access to that adhesive and causing the film to lift. Probably the most common place that you would use edge sealer is on a vehicle, and the areas on a vehicle where you would most likely use it, and probably the one that I would do on every car wrap that I did is around the fuel filler. You'll notice that particularly around this bottom edge here, just under the fuel cap, whenever the customer fills the car with fuel, they're going to spill a little bit of fuel there, and that fuel is going to start to attack the adhesive and potentially going to start to cause the film to lift. You may have actually seen a car or a van getting around and it has like a little loose sort of V-shaped pocket of film underneath the fuel filler. That's what's caused that. The fuel has gradually dissolved the adhesive and caused the film to actually come away. Another area on a car or a vehicle that you may want to use edge sealer is actually up under the wheel arches here. It's a very harsh environment, there's a lot of water and dirt and stuff that gets thrown at that edge, so using a little bit of edge sealer along there can help protect that and stop that from lifting away. Some people also might use it actually underneath the sills here. Again, harsh environment, water and dirt and what have you getting thrown up off the road, so the edge sealer can also help that. The edge sealer, it's a clear liquid. Basically what we're wanting to do is to paint that onto the edge of the graphic, half on the film and half on the substrate. And then when it dries, and that takes about 20 to 30 minutes or so, that thin bead of edge sealer, which only needs to be about 5 or 6 millimeters wide, will actually then seal that edge up and stop anything actually being able to access that adhesive on that exposed edge. Okay, so this is our edge sealer. It's 3M Edge Sealer 3950. This particular edge sealer is designed for PVC films, so typically the vinyl films you're using on a car wrap. The way that I like to apply them, I don't use the dauber that comes with the tin. That's a little bit hard to control, I find. I'll just use a little paintbrush, 5 or 6 millimeter end on it. And what I'm going to do is just literally run a bead about 5 or 6 millimeters wide down the edge of the film. Half on the film and half on the substrate to seal that edge in. Now I typically wouldn't actually do this location on a vehicle, because the edge sealer, even though it does dry clear, it is still visible. So I would typically only use it in those areas that are not visible, such as the fuel filler, the wheel arches and the sills. This is just a little bit easy to show you what's actually going on. So as well as edge sealing on a vehicle wrap, some other types of application where you will use edge sealer are firstly on boats. All boat graphics should be edge sealed, again to protect them from that water being splashed up onto the hull. You may also use it on large truck graphics, like fleet type graphics, particularly if those trucks are subjected to sort of fairly harsh and sort of commercial type cleaners, brush washers or pressure washers or what have you, can just help seal those edges of the graphics down. Now, I mentioned that the 3950 edge sealer was designed for PVC films, typically the type of film you're going to use for a car wrap or a boat wrap. There is a second edge sealer called 4150S. This particular edge sealer is designed specifically for polyester films. So, for example, graffiti resistant films. It does the same job as the 3950. It seals the edge, stops any chemicals or solvents accessing the adhesive and causing the film to lift. But this one's been formulated to specifically work with polyester films. It's a lot more chemically resistant than the 3950, but it's not as flexible. Pretty much like the polyester films themselves. So polyester films, 4150 edge sealer. For PVC films, the 3950. It's not quite as chemically resistant, but it's more flexible, much the same way that the PVC car wrap films are. Okay, well that's edge sealing. It is an important step, particularly in a car wrapping process, to help protect that vulnerable edge of the graphic where we have that little bit of exposed adhesive. So use edge sealer in those places that we talked about. Fuel fillers, wheel arches, perhaps under the sill. Anyway, this has been Chris Cook from 3M Commercial Graphics. As usual, if you have any comments or feedback or suggestions for our videos, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you.